Hi guys, my name is Timo Maas and you're listening to the Liverpool Connection Podcast.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Liverpool Connection Podcast. I am Daz, your host today. This is my football and music episode where I bring on a musician to talk about football and music. And lately, I've just bringing on a musician, even if they're not really into football, just because they're part of my musical landscape. And I'm really interested to hear their story on their roots and influences in the musical world. Today, I've got a fantastic guest. All the way from Valencia, Spain. Marc, who is affectionately known musically as AFFKT. He's the label boss of Sincopat, which is an incredible label. And we'll get into more of that. Marc, welcome to the podcast.
Really nice to be here. Thank you for your nice, kind words.
So I do want to start a little bit talking about the football. I know you're not a football supporter now, just because you have the family, you have the music.
Yeah.
But you did say when you were a kid, you were into football.
Yeah, it was like my grandfather was really into football, and yeah, I remember going to Valencia Stadium and watching with him the games. I also remember he was funny because he was watching the when he was not going to the stadium, he was watching on TV, but with the voice mute and with the radio. Instead of listening the TV, he preferred to listen the radio. So he was with the radio and watching and it was really funny. And yeah, I mean, he was really into Valencia, and for many years he was also yeah, really into Valencia. I think remember for some years it was more I changed, like I wanted to I was more motivated for other teams like Real Madrid. But yeah, definitely Valencia is kind of this kind of team that sometimes you love and most of the times you hate it. It's kind of I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I think most of the people here has like kind of this contradiction, even more right now when the club is not from the people. It's like they love Valencia Club de Football and what it represents, but they don't feel from the team anymore, and it's kind of we love it but we hate it at the same time. So yeah, I mean, nowadays I'm not really connected, but yeah, it's great to have such a great team here, and you never know. Perhaps I have a little child. Perhaps he's getting into football. I always think about that. That probably I have to go again to the stadium to watch games or watch it on TV or wherever. I have a friend here in the studio, a colleague in the studio, which he has a son, and he's uh, going every weekend to for the games of his child. So hopefully this doesn't happen. It's not happening because I mean I could survive like he likes football, but not sure if he likes it so much. So let's see what's happening.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Valencia has such a rich history in football. That, but I understand the way football's going. It's business based. There's a lot of greed in football, and I fell out of love with football for a while just because of the corporate thing. Ticket prices were sky high, and you really want it to. For me, you want football to be family, where families can go watch, and they're priced out now. So I definitely understand that, but I'm sure that there's a lot of not very happy Valencia fans at the moment. I mean, they're 19th in the league in La Liga, so maybe relegation is happening this year. Hopefully Valencia can turn it around. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's kind of like a same old story for me too, because my granddad is the one that got me into football, got me going to the stadium, watching Liverpool. So it seems like a lot of granddads are the ones that got their kids into football. Yeah, my dad was into rugby, so he didn't have time for football. So I do want to ask you, on a serious note, now, it's been a couple of months now since the floodings. You are based in Valencia. How was it for you guys? Because what we saw on the television looked horrific.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was like a kind of a feeling like you are in the middle of a war or something like this. I mean, you don't realize how, because you watch these kind of things in the TV, but you don't realize how big this could be, and until it's not next door, and it was like has been like kind of a really strange feeling, because from us that we were not there in this area of Valencia, has been like a month of really sad. Everything was really sad. Everything was a chaos. Even the metro, it was not working in all the city and the villages around for more than 1 month. So it has been a chaos, really sad moments, and also I think this will remain for a really long time, because it was not just what happened. It was that probably with another way of being managed by the politicians, it probably not so much people die, in this situation. I mean, you cannot control everything, of course, but the main politician was like in a lunch until the evening. He just doesn't take care, or just doesn't worry about anything. And most of the people who should manage this situation were like really not able to do it properly. So it's kind of, you have the feeling that we are kind of a moment really sad, because probably doing the things in another way, the situation would be different. Also, from outside, I have to say that from outside, I think also I've been thinking about this, but from outside it looks like all the city was destroyed. It was just a little part, but which is really big, because a lot of people is living. It was the south of the city. But it was a really big stroke to all the area. I was talking a few days ago with a friend who has a restaurant. He told me all the big ships that come into Valencia, the cruises are coming to Valencia, they were not stopping because they thought everything was destroyed. And it was like a big stroke also economically to the city. But yeah, imagine, it was just a little part, which was around 1 million people. All together, we are more than 2 million, so it could be worse. But this part was totally destroyed, and from our side, you feel it's as strange, because you feel in a way happy, because no one that you know or is really next to you is dead. But also, so many people, like more than 200 people. But also, in the other hand, a lot of like a familiar, like part of our family lost their cars, lost part of the houses, or even these houses. So you have to be happy, because you are not died, and you have to continue with your life. But it's difficult, because not having a car for many people, it could be a really big problem. And most of the people here and everywhere, like they don't have like a amount of money to continue with their lives if things like this happens, you know. So it has been like a big stroke. I try to explain you how is it in my mind, because there's like, as I said, a lot of contradictions, and I think we still will need more time to have a clear idea of what it really happened, you know, because there's not really investigating yet who was you know, who was in charge of some things that could make that the things were different. So at least from now, like 1 month and a bit later, I see it like this. Yeah.
Do you feel like the people of Valencia, because you know when something like a disaster happens like that, people seem to come together more. Are you seeing that throughout
Yeah,
this?
definitely. I mean, definitely, I think that the people really saved the people. You know, the people were mainly saved, at least at the beginning, by the people, not by the government or the military that came later. But and also, meanwhile, everything was happening, a lot of people survived because the help of the other people. You know, so. So yeah, definitely, I think this is one of the good things about this, that you still can believe. I have the feeling that you can believe in people, you know. Um, but yeah, definitely has been something that we really have to think about society, and not just Valencia or Spain, even Europe, even the world. And I can imagine now when I see like, you see like, I don't know, Afghanistan, 100 people dead because you know, a river just, or wherever is explode a bomb or wherever, you know. And you are just not conscious of this kind of things. It's like you are seeing this kind of news, but you are not conscious of this kind of things. And I think with after this, I don't know. I have another feeling and an idea about this. But yeah, definitely one of the great things that people save people. And I think that this demonstrate that, yeah, that's the future. You know, the people.
Yeah, there's good people in this world. That's the thing. You know, when you think humanity has hit rock bottom,
Hmm.
and you see something like that happen, a neighbor helping neighbor, it makes you, you know, really think that humans aren't like the scum of the earth, you know, because every time you turn the television on, you know, it's usually bad news. Um, I just don't watch television anymore. It's just I don't care to, you know, it's sad to say, but I just don't want to listen to bad news over bad news. But it it does make my heart like feel better when, you know, people out there want to help others, you know, and that's the way the human race should act, you know, rather than all these horrible wars and people hating each other for the color of their skin or the way they look or religion. You know, it is really sad, Mark.
Yeah, and also, um, I think that's an important thing to have in mind, because if we don't have it clear, I mean, you see what climate change is doing. I mean, it was like years ago. It was like, okay, our childs will have these kind of things happening, but it's already happening, you know. And if we don't realize, and if we don't leave behind you know, this kind of wheel of destruction that is moving the world, we probably are near of our end that we really think, you know. And that's something, you know, because these kind of things were not happening in Valencia. You know, I mean, last time was in the 50s, and it was because things were different, but even not so many people die. And I mean, with all the technology we have right now, that, you know, this thing happening, and this kind of it was not just this year. Also, most of the years the climate is changing a lot. We don't know what to expect. It's like, definitely, if we don't believe in people and we don't realize how important is about climate change, that we are near of our end. So hopefully we are aware.
Here. I agree. I want to talk to you about your musical roots. I'm always interested to know what was playing in your house when you were a child. What was your mum and dad listening to?
Hmm. Um, um, my dads were like, really into music, both of them. Um, they listen a lot of classical music. My father is a classic musical lover. He's knows so much music, so much about classical music. Not also a bit of opera, but mainly like Mozart, Beethoven, this kind of from different times, not just this, but he's always listening to this music. And my mother was also like this, but he was into more pop or even like a lot of kind of Beatles and pop, but also Supertramp. I remember tracks like Babaji. I remember a lot of this kind of different pop when I was and music from England when I was really young age, and then also a lot of jazz, and like it was a kind of big mixture of this. In fact they bought a piano, and it was kind of this kind of things that you do when you get to live with someone and you share something like a love or something, and they were both musical lovers, so they bought a piano and they always wanted to give classes, so probably they gave some classes but they just never continue, so it was kind of continue their musical frustration, and I was the one who was studying music from the really early age. And yeah, but we was listening a lot of this kind of music. Like music was always at home, and yeah, a lot of classical music, definitely. Hmm.
So for you, when did house music come into your life?
I was also, I think music has this. I mean, you discover music like on TV when you are like, let's say, 10 or 12, and then when you are growing and you get into like um, getting into meeting with your friends and going to parties, and the music that was here in Valencia was at this age for me was kind of the what it happened after the 80s in the city, where it was kind of a, like electronic, like really hard music, like hardcore, kind of hardcore sound. Um, and then I think the first time I was really like I realized that I wanted or there was music. This kind of music was really getting into me was in a travel I did for to England, to Brighton, to give English classes and spend there like some weeks. And we were in a club. We went to London. I went to a club, and I really discovered drum and bass. It was like, what is this? I mean, what energy? I mean, this is amazing. Wow, I want to know more about this. So at the same time, it was like drum and bass and house. I mean, were really different, but you were like, for example, I remember listening like drum and bass for many years, but at the same time, I was listening. I don't know. from Timo Maas, from the early Timo Maas to, to Daft Punk to, it was not, I mean, you could listen Daft Punk and then get into, Ram Records at this time, or, it was like, things were not separated at this point. And then step by step, I think it was kind of, I was going to classes in the music school. Step by step were taking me more time. So it was like at the beginning, like few, like then more. And then when it was like 8 years, something like this, I had the feeling that I really love music, but I had the feeling as well that this kind of music, this classical music was not what I was really, really into it. And at the same time, this drum and bass, all this electronic I was discovering was really, blowing my mind. So I just make a change. It was like I just quit musical school, and then I realized that I can make music with. It was not with computer. It was with computer, but it was with a sampler, with a with a all synthesizer, Roland synthesizer, and with and it started step by step, but it was kind of natural. One thing bring me to another, and another to another one, then I connect with people with similar tastes, and yeah.
Do you
was like
remember
this.
what was your first synthesizer?
The first synthesizer was not a synthesizer, it was a Roland GV 1010. It was the first instrument I bought, real instrument I bought, because I remember that then with the computer you cannot move audios like you move like now. I mean, it was another story. And you have you can write notes, MIDI notes, but the way you can use the WAPs or the audios were not the same. And then I remember getting speakers, and was then living my mother's place and having like a little studio inside my room. And then I got a Yamaha NS10 speakers, which I sold like many years ago. I should not sell these ones because they were really good piece of equipment. And then I remember also when Ableton appeared, it was like a big change, because also for the music we were doing, we were like starting doing music with Rebirth, like with all software. And then when Ableton Live happened, it was launched. It was like a big difference, because the way I work and the way we did music, it was like like a big difference. So yeah, definitely was. I'm using Ableton Live from the first version, in fact.
Well, you're actually the first guest that I've had on that produced before they DJs. Everyone
No,
else,
I mean, I was. It was. I mean, it was like at the same time, but it was kind of. You have to understand that when I started doing music, it was with I know I was 14, and I remember I was playing at this time. At the same time, I was playing with all CDs that my cousin had. So he was coming to my place, and we were doing music with Magix Studio. I think it was the first software I used. And then I was going to his place, and we were playing CDs. He was playing house music. So it was happening at the same time. But yeah, my thing at this point when I started first, like really first, was producing music. But I mean, 1 year after, I already have my equipment to play. So it was not so wild after producing. But yeah, definitely, I think producing happened first, just because this change of I was in the music school, which was something big for me, and I did the change, and it was like I changed this for this, which I really like it. So but it was not such a big difference of time between DJing. Yeah.
What did your parents think of you choosing, to kind of go down the house music route?
I mean, my parents were like really open-minded, and as they were musical lovers, they were happy with that I do that. In the other hand, I think they didn't realize that this could be a way of living or a job until late. But also, things were not like that, right? They are now. Now there's like a dance music scene and world, super defined. Like there's like a super well-defined business. You just have to go to ADE to realize how big this business is. It was, I'm talking about the 96 or 97, and until the end of 99, I didn't went to the university. I went to study sound engineering because it was probably the easiest way to continue being connected to this and having time for my music, and because I was really sure that being in a studio, or even perhaps not doing music, also just recording or working with other artists or mixing or whatever, would make me happy. So I was like trying to go in that direction, but honestly, they didn't never believe that music could give money enough for living, or this could be a business. But I'm talking like it was like really a long time ago. As I say, the business was not so developed as it is now. And for my parents, they didn't have this kind of concept. And so I remember my mom was saying, when I was going to the university, she was telling me, you have to study. You will make music once you finish studying.
Good
And I was telling, no, what I want is to do music. And that's what I wanted to do. But the good thing is that going to the university allows me to have a lot of time to make music, and also a lot of people doing music and being musicians were there studying sound engineering, because this kind of musician musician minds that wanted to work in something related to music. Some of them now are great instrument players. Some of them are acoustical engineers nowadays. Some of them, they have companies, they have bands, and some of them are totally disconnected from sound and music. So, but yeah, it was a point I met like a great partner, Ibra, when I was like around 18, and we started doing drum and bass, because we decided drum and bass was something that I really, really love, and was the music we wanted to do. Also, drum and bass was big at this time in Valencia, so I'm in all Spain. So it was great to, that everything this happened, and was great to meet Ibra and have someone to share this adventure.
I think like it's always good to hear that, especially producers really learn the art of sound engineering, audio engineering, because in this day and age, as I've had this discussion many times. On Beatport, 90% of the tracks, you can definitely tell that they have not given that to a sound engineer. It just does not sound. It sounds like it was made in their basement. So to learn audio and engineering is a massive plus in my book, because if you're making a track, then you can know your own levels and everything, rather than, have to send it off, get somebody else, because it's your baby, your tracks are your children, So I think learning how to engineer first is really good, and it can only just make your track, sound even better.
I mean, yeah, but I think that there are different things. Um, and I mean, for example, I feel myself that there is a Mark. There's three Marks. The Mark is doing AFK and his music, and he's doing remixes. And he's playing as DJ, and he's sometimes doing live sets. And but his project is like creating a world in the studio that then after that he can show it live. There's the Mark, which is sound engineering, who is getting into different projects, sometimes like big techno acts, sometimes helping artists. They are new artists, and I mean the Mark, which is engineer at Pobla Studios, which is who is working with many different projects, and then is the Mark, who is um, a label manager. With the part of the studio of Pobla Studios, I do it with a team. Now we are 6 people. The part of Sincopat, I do it with Raquel. I'm not alone on these projects, but what I want to say is that nowadays you have to know about different things, not just because it's interesting not being just in one thing, also because nowadays, like for example, like an artist, you need to be like a great a great showman in the media, and you need to know about like a little bit about how to sell your music. Of course, you need to be a great DJ or be able to present your music in a great way, because I mean it's really important. Um, and there are so many things to do nowadays, so you need to be even sometimes a good manager of your own, sometimes a good booker on your own. Even when I have a manager, I have a booker, but sometimes you have to also to be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. In the world we are living at the moment, that it seems that everyone has to be good on everything. I don't consider that being an engineer is so important for every artist. But also, I think that there's a lot of music which engineer is really important, because the engineer line to the creative line are super near. So sometimes knowing or at least having a great or idea or a clear idea of how your track will sound better will help you to go further with your sound. For example, there's music like and all the energetic music needs to sound great. Like, for example, drum and bass or techno, or there's a lot of music that some techno, not all, that need to sound really great to be good or good enough to be in play for big artists, and be released to big labels. So in some styles, like the sound, being good sound engineer is important. But also, I consider that there's a lot of great artists who are great in other areas or things that they are not so good in sound engineering, and they are doing super good, because that's the reason you can work with other artists. Nowadays, there's many great sound engineers you can work with not such a big amount of money. And also, what you say about there's a lot of tracks sounding not so good, is because also a lot of people. The good thing is that a lot of people can make music nowadays, but before there was not so much music released, but everything released was sounding great, because if you want to release something, it was like you have to invest in a good studio, but nowadays, I mean, music is kind of something that sometimes it's not so well treated as it should. It's like, okay, I release something, I don't worry about how it sounds, and yeah, we release it, no worries. Next week is gonna be old. So, and yeah, I think it's also because of this, because people first probably they cannot do the invest, and also because sometimes people doesn't realize how important is the music they do and how it should sound, and at the end is your product. They're really worried about how my Instagram will look, but they are not so worried about how my track will sound, you know?
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head. It's more about, how many Instagram followers that they have, and that, the art of making music with quite a few of these people comes second. And that, in my book, is the wrong way. If you're going to make music, you go 100% into it with your heart and soul. And I like to talk about, your label Sincopat. Started in 2010, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you're up to, is it nearly 200 releases?
No, we are more than 200 because we have all this vintage series, which is a single series, which is kind of not a sub label. It's the same label, but we release. We did releases in a different way. Like sometimes our singles, sometimes our like music, which is like more raw music, or even it's kind of another. It's the same story, but tell on a different way. Altogether, we have like more than with albums like around 250, even more, around 300.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And all quality as well. Which
Thank you.
Did you ever think, I mean, start in 2010, and you see many labels fold after a few years. That you've been going, for 14 going on 15 years. You've got to be very happy with where the label's at. And what I really like about the label too, you can't really pigeonhole the sound. I know some people say they'll classify it as like indie dance. I don't think you really can classify it, because some of the stuff sounds very 80s retro-y. Some of it sounds futuristic. Some of it has even got breakbeat in it, break.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you can classify it. And then, I don't think you can classify the effect sound either. Like if somebody says, what does effect play? I mean, what I would hope you go, well, I hope you haven't figured that one out yet.
I mean, I'm really happy that you're telling me this, because that's exactly what I do. I mean, as artists, as affect or aft, I say aft, but I really like that people call me affect as well. And as Sincopat, I mean, I just honestly, the main aim is doing music that really this kind of the track you play and really makes a difference in a set, or it doesn't have to make a difference, but it has like you have to listen and really have to think, wow, this track is telling me something, and honestly, we don't worry about the styles. I mean, we are not naming the styles. This is Beatport who does. I mean, when we started, we were tech house for Beatport. Now we are indie dance. And at the moment, I always say that we are, for Beatport and for myself, from my point of view, we are between indie dance, electronica, and house music at the moment. But honestly, how indie dance is developing, probably we are going to be out of indie at some point. And it was for me important, when I was getting into music, a part of this all this open-minded electronica of that time, Prodigy, Daft Punk, Chemical Brothers, which are probably my biggest inspiration. I was listening a lot of punk. I was listening a lot of hip hop, and it was normal. Like a lot of people listening Nofx were listening to Cypress Hill. It was the normal thing, and all this kind of mixture of sounds were like really stick in my mind. And being a child of the 80s, were like growing with all these different sounds and music, I think it really reflects in the music I do as an artist, as a label, and yeah.
I wanted also, one of my favorite remixes from you is Gus Gus, Love Is Alone. How do you approach a track like that? Because, I'm a massive fan of Gus Gus. Obviously, you are. How do you approach it? Because, you do want to keep like the original like vibe of it, but you also want to make it your sound. How did you approach remixing?
That's a great question, because remixing is also something I really like, and it's something that always have been really thinking about how I should do it and how I should do it better. Something that is important for me is to really understand the soul of the track. I think nowadays remixing, I mean, always has been like understanding the soul of the original track and then recreating another story. Something I have in mind when I remix is kind of thinking that, and in that case is a band, but having in mind that it's kind of a band. They are coming to my studio with their track, and I'm telling them, okay, you have all these things, you have all these instruments, but I'm gonna be like kind of producer, this kind of producer that is really adding a totally new story to a band in pop or a band in rock, and they are like someone that you can trust, that will make your track sounding sometimes not better, I would say in a different way, in a fresh way, we give a different approach, but always trying to use as much of what this band bring me. It's like I'm not trying to be this kind of producer that say, okay, I don't like your guitar, your voice sounds shit, and we're gonna record a synthesizer from my own, which sounds better. It's like, so what I'm trying to do is like, okay, I have to respect this band is coming to my studio, and then I have to think about creating this track as good for me as it could be. And so that's the reason most of the tracks really or sound similar in a way to the original, but because of this, because I want to keep the original soul as much as possible, and sometimes even being a big change still remain this kind of soul. So I mean, it's not an easy task. Sometimes right now I was doing a remix. I'm really happy with the remix right now, but has been like super difficult to go to really deep into the soul of the track, and on a way having something that sounds to me, and yeah, but remixing definitely is something that I really love, and it's something that I'm also really learning a lot when I work with other artists. At the moment at Paula, I'm mixing and mastering along all the team we have here. We have 4 rooms right now, for one mix room, one mastering room, another post-production room. We have this studio, which is my studio, where I also do post-production, and that's something I learned a lot working for other people, because on a way I'm doing like kind of this, I'm helping many people to bring their music to the next level, and that's my weekly job, like helping people to bring their music to the next level. So when I approach a remix, it's kind of doing this, but going much more deeper.
Now I'll ask you the hard question about remixing as well. Have you done a couple of like remixes and the other artist has gone, I do not like that.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, the last remix I wanted to do, I just have to pass because I realized that I just cannot find a way to go into the deepest in the soul of the track and still being me, you know? But sometimes it's hard to say like I cannot remix you because you already promised, and then at the end a remix is a original track with a few sound of the original, which but yeah, as I say, for me sometimes it's easy, but I find that sometimes remixing could be like even harder than doing original music.
Yeah, I mean that's because you're taking somebody's song, you know, and I've heard this from quite a few producers that, you know, they've sent the remix in and it's just totally different from what the artist was expecting.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, it's part of your art as well. It is remixing somebody else's track. But again, you know, you alluded to it. You still want to make it sound like their track, but with your, you know, your touch to it.
Also, I think also the world of remixing is it's in a point that for me it really has to develop a lot in terms of doing remixes nowadays is kind of you know, sometimes you do remixes like for example in Sincopat, most of the mixes I have to pay in advance, or even if I do a remix for a label, sometimes I ask for advance. And I have to say that most of the remixes I do it because I want and I love it. That's the first thing. Because I reject a lot of remixes, even being paid, because I mean I have to really be really sure that it's gonna be something really special. But the kind of remixing thing is nowadays also, you know, it's a strange thing, you know, because sometimes you are doing a remix for someone, and even when it's a totally different track, the publishing rights most of the times are for the original artist, and sometimes remixes are not really well paid as they should. So I mean, I think that just few like really nowadays I would say like not so many there's not so many great remixers, and there's not a really healthy way of being remixed or remixing other people right now, at least. But that's from my point of view, from being a remixer and from getting remixes from other people for Sincopat. You know, it's sometimes you get like something really great. Sometimes you get something like you said, okay. Sometimes it sounds so horrible that you have to. The good thing is I have Pobla. You have to invest a lot of time to make something sounding good enough to release it in your label. You know, it could be. I could, yeah. We can speak about this for an hour. You know, but yeah, definitely, even like this, remixing is an amazing thing.
Who would an artist it would be a dream to remix for you?
I mean, at the moment, there's a lot of artists I really would love to remix. I mean, probably in the top of the list would be Trent Moller. But I don't know. There's also a lot of I really like to approach remixes from different like, for example, remixing bands is something probably my favorite thing. But also would be fantastic to remix like a techno track with a really great leitmotif and bring it to another different world, or even it was great. Also, I did a remix many years ago for Noisia, which are probably my favorite drum and bass artist. It's like doing things that really make you move from your comfort zone. This is the kind of remixes I like it. It's a remix that when you finish, you realize that you have learned so much doing it. But yeah, so many artists. I mean, so many bands. I don't know, Bonobo, artists like, all these artists from Key Records. I really enjoy remixing Fetchka, for example, this kind of sound, which I really like it as well, but that I can bring to my more energetic world, I would say. Yeah. So there are so many. The Ecoce, I don't know, a big list.
Well, I know you're a massive John Digweed fan, and you just did his transition show. That must have been an absolute, because John's an absolute legend. Bedrock, absolute amazing label. But you got to do a mix on his show. How was that for you as a DJ?
It was fantastic. I mean, really enjoy it. It was something I was really looking forward to, and I really enjoy. The thing is, was the most difficult thing was to tell a proper story in 1 hour, or a little bit more than 1 hour, but to have something that really explains myself, being like super influenced by many different sounds and having so many things in my mind, and being able to explain it in 1 hour. But I think it was very well. I really explained myself in that mix. So I was really proud of this. Was one of the best things happening this year, definitely.
Yeah, it's such a great platform to spread, how your DJ sets are. An hour to me, obviously just not long enough. I mean, if you play an hour at a festival, yeah, maybe. But if you really want to, showcase your style of DJing, 2-3 hours is to go. I mean, we live in a world where a lot of the younger people's attention span is that the size of an ant, 3-minute records. I grew up with the amazing 9-10 minute tracks, which, Sasha Digweed would just, make a 10-minute track into a 20-minute track. The mixing is just on point. What for you is, your favorite kind of set? Is it you'd love to do like an open to close, or is like 2-3 hours your favorite?
It's depending. I mean, depending of I can really enjoy a set of 3 or 2 hours in a night playing with other people that are really connected to my sound, and with that we all together tell a story, and even playing 2 hours and then playing back to back with this artist I share the night. Or it could be like playing 3 hours or 4. Even 5. I think that I enjoy playing long sets, but the best way for me, or the most comfortable way for me to play a set, is somewhere around 3 hours. Also because I'm a guy that probably my way of DJing comes from, it's been connected with when I was drum and bass DJ. So I really like that energy is always there, and going like kind of a roller coaster on a way, like you go down, but then you always have the feeling you're going up, and then and definitely like playing 3 hours sets, it really helps me to tell a proper story. But you never know. Perhaps you are playing in a festival, and then the guy before you is playing like 5 or 6 BPM over that what you would like to start, and yeah, you have to think about your story in another way. And in that case, you perhaps probably need 4 hours to explain yourself. So, but honestly, I just enjoy everything. I just really like to enjoy different things. It's like something that really likes again that makes me go out of my comfort zone. It's always really, really, fun.
Well, I think it keeps you on the edge, and it keeps, the people that are there on edge to when you're out of your comfort zone. I think you're not going to the show and like, oh, I'm just going to expect this, throw in as I say, a spanner in the works to make
Yeah.
people go, okay, he's not just going to play this one style or this, and that's what I love about your sets. What do you have plans for the label for 2025? Because 2024, I think you knocked it out the park. So I'm expecting huge things from the label. I'm not putting any pressure on you, but
Thank you. I mean, I have been thinking a lot about that because we're going to be 15 years. So it's really, you want it or not, you have to think that you think, wow, 15 years already. It was like, wow. It was yesterday that we started, and now we are 15. And about the label, honestly, I will really put like 2% more showcases and make the brand bigger in terms of, I think people know a lot about the label, but we still have to make the brand bigger and explain the world what we do better, and to make events with artists related to a label, because I definitely think we have something different to say in all the music out there. So, and that's something I really would like to focus for next year. And we also to celebrate that we are 15 years. And about the music we're going to release, it's going to be a big step forward. That's all what I can say. And there are going to come music that really explode. At least what I really is that the people listen and say, wow, what is this? What, you are dancing in a club, and that this track is slowly going into, it's mixing with the track sounding, and it slowly goes up, and you realize that something is like, you're getting bubbles in your stomach. It's like this kind of tracks. So you can expect more about this. I know that's impossible because no one likes the same, and sometimes you will love, sometimes you will not love so much, but you will think, oh, this is special. And yeah, definitely, I'm still trying to define what is gonna come. I mean, again, going out of styles, just releasing music that hopefully in 15, 20 years still remain fresh and special. That's the the mission on Sincopat at the moment. And also, after so many years releasing music, I need to find something that really motivates me. It's like I need new challenges. I need new things. I need to discover new artists, new sounds. I need to mix with other things, and I'm even more motivated of making things wider, bigger, and colorful than never. And that's something that's really in my mind at the moment. Not just with Syncopat, but yeah, but definitely other years I had more plan for the year that was coming. And this year, there are a lot of things, great things coming, but there's not so much set up already. There's a lot of ideas, and a lot of concepts I want to develop, but not so much setup.
Well, I think one of the great things you can say about the label is, again, as I was talking earlier, you can't pigeonhole it, and you've got the Sasha and Digweeds that play your tracks. You've got the Laurent Garniers, the Carl Cox, not just progressive house DJs, not techno DJs, tech house. This is what, again, I will say about the label. It's for every DJ out there, can play one of your tracks in their sets. It's again not pigeonholed, and I can't wait for what 2025 brings from the label. And I hope eventually you'll get over to the States in the next year or so, and hopefully Texas I can come see you, because
hopefully
it's frustrating, like being over here and seeing, obviously, thank goodness we have YouTube where we can watch the sets, and, SoundCloud and other things like that where we can listen. But yeah, I hope you get a chance to come over here and show the Americans and everyone else that lives over there what you're all about.
Yeah, I was not long time ago in New York, but yeah, definitely have to go back to the States soon and make a proper tour there. Hopefully, yeah, Texas. Yeah, I really would love to go there. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'm sure that next year will happen a great US tour.
Please. It's again, it's been fantastic talking to you for this past hour. I really appreciate your time. I wish you all the best for 2025. I'm looking forward to listening to the new tracks and, listening to more of you getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, thanks so much. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and yeah, hopefully we can repeat in the future and see how you see the music has been released and what your thoughts and from how is my music and the label growing, and how. Yeah, definitely was a big pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening. Please like, subscribe, put your notifications on, but also go and listen to Sincopat music. Go check it out on Beatport, Spotify, any music media you can find it. So please go check it out. Until next time, thank you, and we'll see you later.